right?
Exactly. Time is everything, especially in this business. So it's super critical that you need to be pricing based on time. Because if you're not, you're gonna either end up way underpricing, or you might be drastically overpricing.
I've heard a couple different ways. I've heard people don't like to use those prices at all. They kind of just make their own with their markup on their garment. I've heard people just kind of add a couple dollars to their retail price.
Okay.
And, that way you're making a lot more on the garment. But yeah, I was just curious what you had, to say in that with fees on embellishing the garment.
Here's the thing with pricing. I've always preached the fact that you want to be able to price based on time, right? So with embroidery, because it's so customized, if you really want to provide some preliminary prices in a catalog for your clients, all you can do is provide a general big picture, as a ballpark number. It can't be accurate because really the time that it takes to do a particular garment and a design, it depends on the complexity of the logo you're trying to embroider. So if there's no cookie cutter approach where you can say, let me print all these prices onto a catalog for polo shirts and this and that and hats and jackets, and these are the prices that I provide. It really ranges. They can give you a jacket back design that's 200,000 stitches. You're not going to price that. You're not going to be able to accommodate for the long tail of types of designs you're going to get on that one single catalog. So I would approach it in several ways. One, make the decision as to whether you want to put prices in front of the client. If you've decided that, hey, I want to put ballpark pricing in front of the client, let them know that this is just ballpark, because you can't be accurate on that pricing because it really depends on the complexity of the design. And then two, on the back end, if the pricing up front is just to attract them and get them to have a conversation, on the back end, you need to be pricing accurately when they're having that conversation by actually basing the pricing off of the time that it takes to do that item. That's the only way that you can protect yourself, to make sure that you're not underpricing and being accommodated, taking into account the time that it takes to actually embroider that garment.
Yeah, so maybe a good idea if it said in the catalog, your left chest embroidered, and it had maybe under so many stitches somewhere in there.
Exactly. Right. Oh, but and then you can even put an asterisk or a note or saying like, these sample pricing is based off of designs of 10,000 stitches or less, or something like that. So because you can't accommodate for the long tail of different things. So what you can do is give a range. What I've done in the past is also just give a range, because there are some different specifications that are going to change that price range. So you can give a range if you really want to put pricing in front of the client, which it's definitely helpful because it's transparent and it helps them see like, okay, the ballpark numbers that they're dealing with. But you need to be certain that you tell them this is just ballpark, right? You need to have disclosures in there that like, this is not final pricing. Final pricing subject to final design. Final pricing is subject to the number of the type of garment, right? So all of those things you need to put into a disclosure. But at the same time, you can have ballpark pricing on the front end, but on the back end, absolutely make sure you are pricing your items based on time, not the number of stitches, not the number of colors, based on how long it takes to embroider that particular design onto that particular garment.
Yeah, you just answered another question I had pretty much, was if I have, I was thinking of it the wrong way, and I was thinking of it per location pricing.
Okay.
So if I had a hat, it would take me no time, versus a polo with a left chest and a sleeve.
For sure.
It would take me a lot longer than that. So,
for sure, yeah.
And definitely based on time makes sense.
Exactly. So the way you accommodate that, on the hat, if you embroider on the front panel and the side panel, you can do it in one run, because the particular machine that you have has a 270-degree angle. So you can digitize it where it's one design, and one on the front and then one on the side with a signature or something. In one design, you can do it in one run. So you don't have to re-hoop it. But with the polo shirt, you can't, right? One on the left chest and one on the left sleeve, you're gonna have to re-hoop it. And so that re-hooping, it takes time, right? And so that time needs to be accounted for. So different locations based on the type of garment, you need to be pricing those differently. But you can also, in another way, you can also, even in the sales process for your clients that are buying hats in multiple spots, you can even say like, hey, look, I am actually not charging you for the multiple spots that you have to embroider, because you know that from an embroidery standpoint, you don't need to actually rehoop it. Get it?
Right.
So like it's almost like a sales point where like, hey, I'm giving you a discount almost.
Free location.
Exactly. Hey, you can add on another location on the hat free of charge. But in reality, it's like, yeah, it just takes, I'll charge you for the times it takes to embroider the design, but the extra 5 minutes to rehoop it, I'm not accounting for that. So in your sales process, you can actually pitch it as like, hey, add on another location on the hat on left or right side, or you can do all three sides, and it's free of charge. So it's another way to get them to buy a little bit more, right? Only upsell on the only a small nominal fee for the extra designs that they're doing, but doesn't have to be priced as high of a price as a polo shirt that has left chest and right chest and left sleeve and right sleeve.
Perfect. Right. That makes so much sense. Yeah. Just answered that other question. I'm like, oh, there it is. So
yeah. Exactly.
time is everything, right?
Exactly. Time is everything, especially in this business. So it's super critical that you need to be pricing based on time. Because if you're not, you're gonna either end up way underpricing, which is gonna hurt you in the long run. So every order you do is costing you money, or you might be drastically overpricing because you just think like, oh, this is worth that much, but you're not looking at how long it actually takes. You might actually be overpricing. But most of the time, when you do pricing off of number of stitches, you will likely be underpricing than you are overpricing. Most of the time. But I've seen cases where if you just base it on the number of stitches, $1 or $2 per 1,000 stitches, you might be overpricing because the logo has a lot of stitches, but it doesn't take that long to do because maybe it's on a flat item and it's really, really quick. And versus on a hat, right? The same number of stitches on a hat, it's gonna be slower. So you need to account for the time, and time will encompass a lot more factors in pricing than the number of stitches will.